Hello, and welcome to the next section of Joomla Development 101. In this section, we will discuss the various steps necessary for writing a plugin. The first of these lectures will involve the basic structure and function of a plugin. So before we begin creating our custom plugin, let's discuss what a Joomla plugin is. A plugin provides functions that are triggered by specific events. In addition, plugins can be run in sequence and are categorized by type. Within Joomla, a plugin is a powerful way of extending the functionality of Joomla. It allows extension developers to allow other extensions the ability to override or customize the output from their code, making those extensions even more extensible. It's important to note that the Joomla plugin architecture follows the observer design pattern, which we can talk about later if necessary. Please see the notes associated with this lecture. The JPlugin class is the one which is extended by most Joomla plugins, and this provides the means to register custom plugin code with core or custom events. In addition, the JDispatcher class, or JEventDispatcher from Joomla 3 on, is an event handler which will call every plugin registered for a particular event when that event is triggered. So, we've talked in technical terms, so let's look at that from what does that really mean. Basically, a Joomla plugin is going to contain small bits of code which are triggered throughout components and can be run with other plugins to do some sort of manipulation with the data, either before or after or during the function as it displays the content to the user in screen. So, let's get started writing our custom Joomla plugin. The first thing that we'll want to do is to create a new repository on your code versioning system of choice. As we discussed in the earlier lectures, my choice for open source projects is GitHub. So I have navigated to github.com/new, and I'm going to create a new repository to host or hold all of the code created for this plugin. I'm leaving it marked as public, and I'm going to initialize this repository with a README. Once I've created the repository, I'm going to select the SSH clone URL, which is git@github.com, with my other information at the end of it, and copy this for use later on. Next, what I'm going to do is look in my IDE. I have not yet created a project for this plugin, so the first thing I'll need to do is to create a folder, and in that folder, initialize my GitHub repository. There are two ways you can do this. As you know, I prefer the command line. So from the command line, I'm going to navigate to the correct directory, and we're going to make a new directory for this code. Then, going inside that directory, I'm going to run a git clone command using the URL which I've copied from GitHub. You'll notice I've added a period at the end of my command. The period tells the command that I want to run this without creating additional folders, but to clone it directly into the folder I'm located within. Now you'll see that I have successfully cloned it into this folder, and so now what I can do is return to my IDE and add a folder to my project. So here I'm going to find the folder that I've created, JD101, and open it. You'll see now on the left-hand side that I have my folder with my default README file within it. Now we need to save this project so we can refer back to it later. I'm going to save this in my projects folder, and I'm all set. So now what we have is our localized plugin folder that is going to be able to be easily committed and pushed to my plugin directory on GitHub and back up all of my information. This concludes the introduction to writing a plugin. In the next lecture, we will begin looking at the specific files related to our plugin and begin with the XML file. It will be important at that time to also define what functionality we want our plugin to accomplish. So tune in to our next lecture to begin writing the plugin files.